Digital gramophone makes no sense.
Hey guys, it's John. I'm gonna do something a little different today. This is not a thread. I'm not starting a thread. If you guys want to do your own video responses, by all means do it. You'll probably just respond in the comments, and that's fine. That'll be cool. I'm sure this will provoke some. I'm sure this will... I'm hoping it's just maybe an interesting discussion. I'm sure that there are plenty of people, some who already do, that will just find some way to nitpick at every little fucking thing that I say. Whatever. I'm used to it from some of you. So, today I'm showing a Purge pile. Not everything in it, because some of the records in this Purge pile I'm putting online to sell, and I don't want to show that on this video because I don't want it to look like I'm soliciting. I'm not. All of these records that I'm going to show are being traded in, and they've already been traded in by the time that I post this video. So, don't try to convince me not to. There's going to be absolutely no regret. And I'm sorry if some of you would have liked to have them as VCLT, but, you know, I have to trade in because I'm trading in for store credit. Now, a little bit of some of the reasons why I'm doing this. So, in the last decade that I've been kind of taking records, I don't know, not more seriously, because I still don't really consider myself a collector. There's some things that I collect, certain artists that I feel like I collect. But most of why I buy records is just because I love music. It's also an addiction, and I am fully aware of that. But that addiction existed long before the previous decade. That addiction started as soon as I started getting allowance from my parents and I went and turned it into CDs or cassette tapes or whatever. So I've been addicted to this for a long time. Now, I'm at a point in it's a little bit about where I'm at in my life. It's also a little bit about where I am, about how I feel about music and how I feel about consuming music. And everything that I say right now, there is a very good chance that 2 weeks from now, I'll have completely different opinions or thoughts on it. And I don't care. Yes, I'm just spewing shit from my mouth right now. I'm totally rambling in this video. And I'm not doing this because I'm trying to prove some point or start some debate. I just think it would be interesting. I thought it would be interesting to kind of document this and kind of put this out there just to kind of give a peek into, I don't know, my collection, what I think about it, what I think about my records, and what I think about how I consume music in general, I guess. And I don't know. Part of this is definitely inspired by the Vinyl Minimalist. Now, I had started a conversation with some people that I talk with offline, and one of them, I mentioned that I'm thinking about doing this video where I just show the records that I'm getting rid of. And some of these I actually already shared with some people that I talk with offline. And but then I'm watching Mazzy one day and he gives some shout outs, some channels, and I see the Vinyl Minimalist and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And I've kind of enjoyed his videos. I don't agree with everything that he says. I don't agree with his philosophy on everything, But there's certain things that are admirable about it, and what I do appreciate about it is the focus. He has a focus. And there are some of you guys in the VCE that have a focus. You know, Rob, it sounds strange, has a real focus. The Vinyl Douche, Sam, he has a real focus. There are just certain things that he's really into that he goes. And I'm not specifically talking about like, oh, I just collect 45s, or oh, I'm just into jazz, or, you know, my friend Dave is very specific about what jazz he's into. And he seems very focused about the things that he collects. I'm trying to work on that, and I'm trying, not because I really feel like I have to or like anything. It's something that I want to do. I want to be more purposeful about the things that I buy and the things that I keep, and less just fly by night, which I've pretty much been since I started buying music. So a little bit of this purge has to do with that, being more purposeful. And you'll see what I mean. So we're already 6 minutes in, and I haven't even shown you these records. The first grouping of records I'm going to show are albums that I have duplicates of. I don't need to hold on to these anymore. Queens of the Stone Age, Rated R. This is the 10th anniversary. I bought the newest reissue. Don't need this. This is like one of 7 or 8 copies of Pet Sounds that I own, that I have owned. I think I'm down to 5 still. One of them I'm holding on to for my son, and another one for my daughter. But this one I'm trading in. It's like a mono reissue, but I have a mono original, and I also just bought the analog productions, so I don't need that one anymore. And it was okay sounding. Parallel Lines by Blondie. I don't even know why I have this. I have a 78 press that I know I've had for a while. I don't even know why I have this. This is a reissue. I don't, maybe I thought it was going to sound better, and I love that album, and sometimes I'm always looking for something that sounds better. It doesn't sound any better than the 78 original that I have. I bought this maybe a year later. I found it sealed. Bought the sealed copy. Time to get rid of that. I don't even know why it's still sitting here. The next few are records that sound like shit, or have had newer reissues, and I don't know, I mean, sound quality is something that I care about. I don't think I'm that great of an audiophile. My system is not an audiophile system. I don't even know if my ear is that great. We all hear things differently. I'm just going off of what I hear with these. And anyway, the first 3 are plain recordings, which we all know most of the time sounds like shit. This is one of the worst sounding records that I've ever bought brand new. I Feel Alright with Steve Earle. This is an all-time favorite of mine. Some of the songs, you can even hear the quality degrade through the song. The song gets worse as you listen to it. It's that bad of a press. This is garbage. I hear a lot of people in the VC use that term placeholder. Well, this is a placeholder for now. And that's cool. I'm not judging on that. I'm not judging, no judgment. That's cool if you're into that, because you're probably more of a real collector than I am. So you're collecting that, and that's your placeholder till you find a better one. I don't believe in placeholders, and I've been getting rid of placeholders since last year, and this is one of those. I don't know, it's time to get rid of. A lot of these records, some of you, if you remember, have probably seen me post them on Instagram, and some of that is what's going on. It's like a reassessment. This is another one. This doesn't sound as bad as that one. The first side of this actually sounds pretty good. Second side, full of noise. Really good album. They did a proper reissue of El Corazon. I don't understand why they didn't do proper reissues on these 2 albums, like 20th anniversaries on these. Those are essential recordings, for me, I feel like I have to own them. I feel like I need to own them because I love them. But it's time to let go, you know? I have one of those on CD. The Breeders' Last Splash. This is another album. This is one of my all-time faves. That's why I bought a Plain Recordings issue of it, just to take a chance on it and see what it sounds like. And it sounds like shit. It's on red vinyl. If it's a colored, even if it's a colored vinyl on Plain Recordings, it's probably going to sound worse. It's just not good. These are new records that shouldn't sound like crap, and they do. This guy I like a lot. I just don't worship the ground that he walks on the way a lot of other people do, but I like his music, and I really like this album. Bon Iver, Bon Iver by Bon Iver. This came out in 2011. At the time this record came out, I did not have the greatest record player. The one that I had before, which sounded fine, died. I inherited that one. I didn't really know at the time when it died, like, where do I take this to get it fixed? I didn't feel like doing the research. So I just kind of put record buying on hold for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, really. Met my wife, my now wife, when we started dating. She bought me one of those Crosleys as a Christmas present, which was a very nice gift from someone that you've only really been dating for like a year, especially on a teacher's salary in North Carolina. And this is like a decade ago. So I put my time in on that, you know? I'm not going to shit on it and say this is a shitty record player. What are you doing? It was incredibly thoughtful. And so I put my time in with that stereo. I did. And, you know, this was one of the records that I bought with it at a time. I couldn't tell if it sounded bad on that thing. A couple years later, I get a better stereo, a better turntable, amp, speakers, everything. This sounds like garbage. And this is a very quiet record, pristine. And I think some people don't even really like the mix on the CD. I do. It's too much noise, just way too much noise. Clicks and pops. The record is awful. The packaging is phenomenal. This is a tip-on jacket. This is like quality production. Why would you put that much money into the packaging and the records sound like shit? This one doesn't sound as bad, but it's not that great either. There's same issues with this. This has intentional noise in it, intentional pops and clicks and glitches and things like that. I know what those are. I know what those sound like. This, and again in the quieter moments, there's a lot of noise. And here's one particular spot on the second side. I can't remember. Anyway, there's a really bad pop on the second side that is just unforgivable. This thing's gone. This band did not endorse these. They have since put out better reissues. Those sound great. This doesn't sound bad. The bass is a little bit in the red. A little overmodulated maybe. So it probably came from a digital source. I don't need to hold on to this anymore. Emperor Tomato Ketchup and Dots and Loops. Thank goodness those were the only two that I didn't buy a bunch of the other ones. And then this is a guy that I like a lot. His name's Corey Brannon. He's a musician out of Memphis. This is a really good record. He's a talented singer-songwriter. The first song on this album, The Corner, is such a great song. This is a noisy crap pressing. I have another of his records that's fine, that came out on Bloodshot. This came out on Bloodshot too. And Bloodshot, I don't know if they use the same people. I don't know what. I just know that this does not sound very good at all. It's a noisy crap pressing. So it was a terrible master probably, just to begin with. All right. Some of these are just albums that I just don't feel like I need to own anymore. I did a Pearl Jam ranking video. I said I just don't feel like I need to own this album. I only like really half of it. I just don't need to have an album that I'd only like half of. That's what I'm starting to focus on. And I'll address that a little later. This is an album that I bought 2 years ago. And I just opened it a couple of weeks ago. I posted this on Instagram. I don't like this album as much as I once did. I had this on CD. And I just don't like this album as much as I once did. I don't think I really like the Manic Street Preachers as much as I once did. I really like the Holy Bible. That's a great album. I have that one on vinyl. I will keep that. There's nothing wrong with the sound of this. The quality of it, I just don't. I used to love U2 a lot more than I do now. When I was 13, 14, 15 years old. Probably even into my early 20s. A lot of what I loved about U2 was the emotion. And this is how I kind of feel about this record. It's just, I can handle Coldplay, certain Coldplay albums more than I can handle this. Sorry. I don't know. It's not a bad album. I just don't feel the need to own it. I bought this at a record store today. This is a compilation. Some of this music is featured in a motion picture. This is Cambodian pop and rock and roll, a compilation of that. It's cool. It's interesting. It's just not something I'm going to go to over and over and over again. So there's no point in me holding on to it. Okay, all of these records, I bought all of these used for a good price, and I just don't need them anymore. I probably never did need them. I definitely didn't need them. This is not about a need or want thing. I just don't feel like I need these in my music room, because I'm just not going to them over and over again. This is a comp of Reckless Eric. It's called The Whole Wide World. Love that song. One of my favorite moments in cinematic history is when Will Ferrell plays that song on an acoustic guitar in the movie Stranger Than Fiction. And Maggie Gyllenhaal is looking at him, falling in love with him in that moment. It's a wonderful, tender moment. Love that. Love that song. But I can just listen to it on Apple Music. I don't need this. At 3 o'clock. This is like a French pressing. I like other stuff from the Paisley Underground better than this. I just don't feel this is. I just don't feel like I need this. It's a cool debut. I just don't feel like I need this. This album's not even as good as that one, so I definitely don't need it anymore. Queensreich's Warning from 1984. This is cool. It's a cool album. I like Queensreich. I have some metal in my collection. I just don't have any attachment to this anymore. If I want to listen to this, I'm probably going to pluck a few songs from it and put it on a playlist. I actually have a playlist in Apple Music with some of the songs from that album. Midnight Oils, Diesel and Dust. This is for some people, a classic album from 1987. It's a really good album. I'm just not the biggest Midnight Oil fan. I like certain things. God forbid, I'll listen to an Essentials playlist on Apple Music. Oh no. A lot of those aren't even really essentials, but you know what I mean. Men at Work, same feelings. I actually got this album from work. It was in a storage closet, with a bunch of other records. Rinse, Repeat, The Animals, The Best Of. I'll just stream this. I don't need this to take up my... certain people There's some R&B artists that I will keep best of compilations of because I'll get a lot out of spinning them. That's just not one that I get as much out of. Wishbone Ash. This is Argus. This is a pretty cool album. Wonderful album cover. Love that album cover. It's an actual photograph. But yeah, this is a decent album. But just not, I don't like enough stuff by the rest of this band to feel like I am even warranted to just own a one-off by them. So, time to let go. Steve Miliband, Book of Dreams. This isn't even if this was like a pristine copy of this album, I might hang on to it. But Steve Miliband is also another band that, I don't know, I just feel like I have a few CDs from a box set. I don't have the complete box set. Just have a few CDs from it. That's fine with me. Steppenwolf, this is a live album. Cool, really like 20-minute long version of The Pusher. Takes up all of side 2. That's pretty cool, but I don't need side 1. I like Steppenwolf. I just don't think this live album is like that great. I'm picky about my live recordings. This is an album that I think Steve Carlson's one of his favorite albums. But it's something that I can just pick up anytime I want, and I just don't feel like I need it. I just don't feel like I need it. You know, I have another Joe Jackson album that I'm keeping, but not Night and Day. Psychedelic Furs. This is a cool album. Again, I don't know. Same feelings about a lot of the other ones. I'm not a big psych guy. I've talked about that in some of my other videos. For some of you that have paid attention, I'm just not into it as much as a lot of you other guys are. I'm like stretching while doing this video. I'm sitting on the floor. These are albums that I didn't pay a ton for, and they're cool. They're all right, but it's kind of more about, these were more about a discovery of what I actually do and don't like. Fever Tree. When I first heard this, I was like, wow, that's crazy. It's pretty out there sonically. The vocals aren't that great to me. And the songwriting isn't really all that great to me either. So I'm not into the sonics enough of it to keep the sonics of this sound enough to hold on to it. And that's one you can get easily online, like cheap online. I know a lot of you guys love this band, the Blues Magoose. Psychedelic Lollipop. This is a cool album. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool album. I just don't feel, again, I'm just not deeply attached to it. You know, it's for some people, it's not for me. I like psych stuff. I think I just tend to like the more popular stuff. And it's just going to be a case-by-case basis with me, guys. It's not like with that sound. But anyway, this is an album that a lot of people would really like. It's called Joan of Arc, or the band is Joan of Arc. The album is a portable model of. This was their debut, came out in '97. This was the kind of like the infancy of emo. For some people, the infancy of emo. I remember some people called Fugazi emo. This was when this came out at a time when we really didn't even know what emo was, really. We were just throwing that term around. I found this used at Lunchbox. It's an OG. And I remembered liking this album, so I picked it up. I think I just liked it more back whenever I heard it. Probably when I was more susceptible to the sound. It's just not my thing. Not enough to hold on to. Love these guys. Not in love with this album. I'm really done with Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. You grow up in the South. You hear that song enough. I don't know. It's decent. Not a must own. I have some other country albums that I'm on the fence with. Here's one that's just trashed. This cover is in great shape. I took this from my wife's grandmother. She had a bunch of records, said I could have them. Roy Acuff's a legend, but this one's just beyond repair. I don't even think the record store will take this. It's in such bad shape. Or they won't give me money for it. So I bought these really cheap because I'm a big alt country fan, and I was really into finding albums that were kind of like the precursor of that. Some of those bands that were playing around with the alt country sound before it was even called alt country. And so some of these two I picked up for that reason alone, but I'm not curating some museum exhibit on alt country, so there's no point in me having it if I'm not going to listen to it all the time or feel like I really need to have it. This album by the Beat Farmers, it's cool, it's got some moments, it's not great though, and I don't need it. Lone Justice, this is an album that a lot of people like. It's almost kind of in some ways become an iconic album cover because of everybody seems to own this album at some point. I just don't feel the need to keep it, you know. If I ever get a whim, I'm not going to throw it on the turntable. I'm probably going to be in the car, and I'm probably going to listen to some of it, not all of it. This is an album called Field Trip. The title's beautiful. This was like a blind buy. This one, I don't even know why I still have it, because I bought it and I got home and I didn't even like it right away. It's on Ruby Records. Ruby Records is a cool record label. Some people might probably know more about this band than I do. So I've been trying to make videos and keep them under 20 minutes, but this is kind of a broader topic, and I'm doing a lot of rambling, and I'm not even going to really edit this one. I'm just going to post it as is. So if you're making it through this, then you're making it through it. If you're not, then you're not. I don't care. But this is kind of where I'm at. And so now I'm at the point where even bands that I have a great affinity for, I have albums by that I don't consider essential. So I'm kind of at that point now where I want to be making those decisions. What do I need to keep? What do I really want? And to kind of show you, these are ones that I'm on the fence about. So to kind of show you the struggle is real. The struggle. I don't even like to joke about that right now. I'm sorry. I don't even like to joke about the struggle, especially in fucking times like this. So I'm sorry. I love Beach House. I don't own everything by Beach House. I don't really like their first album that much. I think it's okay. Their second album, there were 2 or 3 songs that I really loved on it. I still have it on CD, but I don't love it. Teen Dream was where it really took off for me, where they really took off for me. And this is an album that Depression Cherry, that I'm on the fence about. Do I really need to have this? I don't know. Sorry, the cat's getting close to the camera. But this is a perfect example where I really like it, but I have to be in a real specific mood for it. And a lot of times if I'm in the mood to listen to Beach House, I'm just going to go with one of the other albums that I have. You know, I'm just going to go to Bloom, or I'm just going to go to Teen Dream, or I'm just going to go to Seven. You know, like, I'm not necessarily going to go to this one. But will I later? See, these are the things. So this is a toughie. Then there are two bands that I like even more than I like Beach House, but I'm not in love with these albums as a whole. Belle and Sebastian's Girls in Peacetime, Wanna Dance. Another wonderful album cover by them. I love some of the songs. I love some of the, even the ones that they're newer for them. They kind of play around with more dancey kind of vibes, a little bit of disco-ish in some of these songs. There's some great moments on this album. Are there enough for me to really hold on to it? Can I just live with those songs in a playlist? It's a toughie for me because this is a band that I feel almost compelled to collect, but I don't really. See, I'm having the argument with myself in front of you guys. I like this band so much. I love this band. My wife and I love this band. But this album I was very disappointed in. Now, I've still held on to it because, honestly, I see so many other people talk about how much they like it. And it makes me wonder, will I have a change in heart about it later? So I hold on to it because of that. I don't know if that's what I should be doing. I don't know if it's the responsible thing to do. When I know that there are albums out there that I know I'm going to love instantly, and I'm probably going to love for a long time, and I'm not going to need them to sit while the jury in my brain debates, you know, like, I just don't, I don't know, you know, it's just not, I don't know. There are cool moments on this album, and I love how they've kind of abandoned the sound that they had early on that was very niche, and Colin Malloy has embraced more traditional pop structures and things like that. And there's some great moments on this record, but it's very uneven to me, and I like about half of it. And kind of my rule that I'm trying to stick to is, if I only like half of it, then it's probably not worth owning on vinyl, on a format that I have to devote time to. Does that make sense? But there are ones like this that I'm on the fence about, that are hard to let go. The general rule of thumb is, if it's 10 tracks, I need to really love 7 of them. Preferably, and it's a lot easy because I own hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of records that I love from start to finish. And I really do love from start to finish. But then there are just some records that I don't know. And that's what I'm trying to work on. And it's a focus thing. Am I trying to get it down to a 2x2 calyx like the Vinyl Minimalist? No, not even close. And if I still own 1,300 records, then that's fine. I don't care. It's not really about the number. It's about focus. And so, yeah. I mean, getting the number down would be nice. But to me, it's more just about focus. And that's where I'm at. So, that's it, guys. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Gone on long enough. Yeah, take care. All right, bye.